So that day the Buddha went to the city of Shravasti in order to beg for his food, doing walking meditation. And he noticed that most of the houses were closed. And then there was one lay person opening his door and asked the Buddha to come in. And after the Buddha had come in, he told the Buddha that Angulimala was in town. And it could not be safe for his teacher to walk on the street like that. He told the Buddha, "Dear teacher, please stay with us. We will cook something for you to eat. And when we hear that the situation is safe, we let you go home. It's too dangerous to have you walking around in the city." The Buddha said, "Our practice is to get in touch with the people in the city. And I'm sure that it will be all right. I will know how to protect myself, so allow me to continue my practice of going on the armed ground." So his disciple believed him and allowed him to go out. The Buddha is a title given by him by the children of a village called Uruvela. His name is Siddhartha Gautama. The Buddha means the one who is awake. And you know that the Buddha is not a god. He's a human being like us. He had suffered like us. He had practice. And he was able to overcome and transform his suffering and confusion and became a teacher. His real name is Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha first name, Gautama family name. And his clan is Shakya. Siddhartha Gautama Shakya. And then after having walked for about 10 minutes, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, hear the sound of running after him. And by hearing that sound, he knew that it was Angulimala. When you are very mindful, when you are concentrated, you can detect the energy that has expressed itself into sight and sound. And the Buddha had the insight that it was Angulimala that was running after him. But the Buddha was not fearful. He was very calm. He was very solid. He was still very young. And Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, before he became a monk, had been one of the best in the field of martial art. He won the contest organized in his city Kapilavastu concerning martial art. So he knew that he was young, he was strong, he was skillful in martial art, he is lucid, he has compassion, he has many means to protect himself. So that is why he continued to do walking meditation step by step, not disturbed at all by the presence of Angulimala. Angulimala was very angry, always a lot of violence and hate in him. He called out to the Buddha, "Hey, monk, stop!" The Buddha heard that, but he continued to do peaceful, mindful walking. He did not stop. And then Angulimala called for a second time, "Monk, stop! I told you to stop." The Buddha continued to walk peacefully, not disturbed by that kind of threat. And then he heard the steps of Angulimala running quickly. And in no time at all, Angulimala was walking on some line with him. And with an angry tone, Angulimala said, "Monk, I told you to stop. Why Do you still continue to walk? The Buddha continued to walk, and with a very peaceful voice, he said, Angulimala, I stopped a long time ago. It is you, my friend, who has not stopped. What do you mean? And he jumped ahead and stopped the Buddha and forced the Buddha to stop. What do you mean? You were walking, and you said that you had stopped. The Buddha looked at him with a lot of compassion and addressed Angulimala with a very gentle voice. Angulimala, on the path of violence and destruction and hate, I have already stopped for a long time. I have taken the path of compassion, understanding, and service. You too, you should stop on your path of violence. You know that every living being wants to be alive. No one wants to die. We have to be compassionate to them. We have to allow them to live, to love them. When Angulimala heard that, he got very angry. He said, all men and women are cruel, dishonest, deceptive, always lying. I hate them. I want to kill them to the last in order to satisfy my anger. The Buddha said, Angulimala, I know you have been victims. You have been mistreated by many human beings. They have not treated you with understanding, compassion, and you have suffered a lot. You have met cruel people, deceptive people, dishonest people. But you should not think that all men are like that, all women are like that. There are people who are capable of understanding and loving and being compassionate. It's pity that you have not met such people. Suppose a bhikshu, a mendicant. Have you met any bhikshu? Their life is devoted to saving the life of people and to practice non-violence in thinking, in speaking, and in acting. And they have their compassion, their peace to protect them. They rather die than to take the life of another human being. Angulimala, I think you have to change the direction, to take direction of compassion, understanding. The ocean of suffering is immense. But if you turn around, you see the shore of well-being. Angulimala has never seen a person like Siddhartha. Everyone he had met, was terrified by his presence and tried to run away from him. But this person, he was not afraid of him at all. And he was able to look at you in a very compassionate way. He has never seen and met such a person like this monk. His gentleness, his compassion can be felt. Angulimala said, "Are you the Buddha? Are you Siddhartha? I have heard of him. Are you him?" The Buddha said, "Yes, I am Siddhartha." Angulimala said, Gautama, it's too late. It's too late. I have gone too far on this path. Even if I want to stop and turn into another direction, it's already too late. Nobody will allow me to have a chance to begin anew. The Buddha kept silence for a few seconds. And he told Angulimala, if you really want to give up the path of violence and destruction, if you really want to make the commitment to live the life of compassion and of service, and then I will help you. I will offer you my protection as a spiritual teacher, and my community will guarantee for your protection. The Buddha was very brave. He wanted to guarantee that he will be able to keep Angulimala from continuing his course of destruction and killing. He seems to be ready to take the risk. His compassion was immense. And when Angulimala heard that, he took out his knife and threw it into the ground and kneeled down before the Buddha. Siddhartha Gautama, I really want to stop. I really want to make the commitment to live the life of compassion and healing. Please do help me. At that time, the Venerable Shariputra, Ananda, and others disciples of the Buddha, they were looking for the Buddha. They were worried that their teacher would have been killed by Angulimala. Now they arrived and they saw Angulimala kneeling before the Buddha. They were so happy. The Buddha gave the suggestion to Shariputra, his senior disciple, to organize a ceremony of ordination right on the spot, to shave the head of Angulimala and to put a monk robe on him. I take refuge in the Buddha, the person who is enlightened, compassionate. I take refuge in the Dhamma, the path of understanding and love and compassion. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that practice according to the path of compassion and understanding. And then Shariputra and other monks were given the order to escort Angulimala, the new monk, back to the monastery and keep him there and gave him instruction as how to practice breathing, sitting, walking. And his fellow monks will bring the food every day home to him. And did not have to go out for the arm round like other monks. And after the monks were gone with Angulimala, the Buddha continued his arm round. What happened is that from that day on, Angulimala became the most diligent monk in the community. He really devoted all his time, energy into the practice of transformation and healing. He was ready to receive the teaching and put it into practice with all his might, all his whole person. And he was able to transform his anger and his violence so quickly. It was like a miracle. And his brother monks was very surprised. So they gave him a Dhamma name, a very beautiful Dhamma name, Avihimsaka. You know that ahimsa is non-violence. And the new monk, the newly ordained monk, obtained that Dhamma name. The bhikshu with the name non-violence. He practiced so well that he became a model for other monks. He turned 180 degrees. And he was committed to the practice with all his life, because he knew that he had caused a lot of suffering, he had caused a lot of damage to society, to family, and all. 3 months after that, he was allowed to join Buddha to go to Shravasti for the first arm round. Because the Buddha knew that now he is an authentic monk and he can join other monks safely to practice begging in the city. When the Buddha and about 20 monks who accompanied him for the alms round arrived at the gate of the city, they were surprised to see that the king of Kosala, Prasenajit, was in military uniform and he's conducting many units in the army ready to go somewhere to fight some kind of war. And when the king, Prasenajit, saw the Buddha, well, he got down from his horse. He bowed to the Buddha because he was a friend of the Buddha and he was a disciple of the Buddha. And the Buddha said, "Great king, what happened? Why do you have to use so many army units? Is there a war in the frontier that you have to fight?" The king said, "No, my teacher, there is no war in the frontier. We have to call this unit on because we have heard that Angulimala is in town. And we are very afraid of him. 50, 100 policemen would not be able to deal with him. That is why I had to use this huge amount of soldiers in order to look for him." Angulimala was just standing behind the Buddha. And the king was just in front of the Buddha. The Buddha practiced breathing in and out. And calmly he told the king, "Great king, what could you do? What would your majesty react if your majesty heard that Angulimala has renounced the path of violence and killing and embraced the path of practice of compassion, understanding, and repentance, and make the deep commitment to do no more harm to society? What if he become a monk, wholly devoting himself to the practice with the support of other monks? And if there is a guarantee that he will never repeat the mistake, the crime again?" King Prasenajit said, "Dear teacher, I don't believe that Angulimala would do that. He's a very, very evil person. A lot of hate, a lot of anger, a lot of violence in him. He could not take the path of practice. I cannot imagine him becoming a bhikshu like you." The Buddha said, "Great king, he has embraced the new path. With our help, he has taken the vow to renounce to the path of violence. He has now become a monk, practicing very well, and his name now is monk non-violence, very much respected by his brothers. If Your Majesty hear about that, would Your Majesty continue to think that he should be put in prison or hanged? Or would Your Majesty give him a chance in order to practice compassion, in order to transform himself, in order to repay the mistakes he have done in the past? Would His Majesty give him a chance for transformation and service? And the king said that, well, if really Angulimala wants to embrace the path of compassion and make the vow to practice the path of non-violence and renounce the path of killing, and not only I will not kill him, put him into jail, but I will offer him food, shelter, and medicine as I used to offer to all other bhikshus. And then the Buddha tapped to the right and pointed to Angulimala and said, Majesty, this is Angulimala. All the hair in the head of the king stood up. And he make a step, jumping back. The Buddha smiled. It's no danger, Majesty. Angulimala now is very, very gentle. He's one of the most gentle, non-violent person in our community. Please don't be afraid of him. He is in very good hands that take care of him. So with that reassurance of the Buddha, the king step up, make one step ahead, and make a bow to Angulimala and ask him about his origin, the name of his father, that is the name of his mother. And with respectful and gentle speech, Angulimala answered every question of the king, as a respected humble monk. And the king said, Venerable Avihimsaka, do you need anything in terms of medicine, food, or shelter? And the Venerable Angulimala said, No, great king. My brothers in the Dharma have provided me with everything. I thank Your Majesty for your concern, but we are okay now. The king turned to the Buddha and looked at Buddha with great admiration. Dear teacher, what we cannot do, even with a mighty army, you have done. You don't have any weapons, any army, any political powers, and yet you have done what we as a government, as an army, have not been able to. Please stay long in our country as the light, as the spiritual support to the life of our nation. We thank you for having done what you have done in order to make the country a more peaceful place for all of us to live in. The Buddha said, we just try to do our best. The king said that, thank you, my teacher. Now I have to go back to my army unit and give the order for them to go back to their places. I have many things to do, so please allow me to do so. The Buddha said, Great king, please do what you deem necessary to do now. And thank you for having had this conversation. And now we can continue with our arm round.